We letting the room fill up? That's our thing we do, right?
Today it is, yep. Because I got nothing witty.
Join in, people. Join in. We're waiting for you to jump in here, and that's what we're waiting for. So we appreciate it. Couple minutes late, but we're right here with you. I have a lot of questions for John, most of which involve. Are you wearing gloves?
Well, I took it off. I have a topical. I have a topical medicine that I have to keep on my hands, and so I will wear latex gloves to keep the medicine to allow it to soak into my skin.
I didn't know it was medical. I wouldn't have pressed you on it. I just thought it was funny that you were wearing a glove.
Well, I mean, why else would I wear a single latex glove? I don't think if it was like if it was a black glove, it would look cool, but like a single blue latex glove, not so much.
I thought it was like a fashion statement of some sort. You're wearing a glove on your hand. I don't know. No. You're cleaning or doing, if you wear a glove for changing diapers or something?
Well, have you noticed, you haven't noticed that my setting has changed. If you see behind my right shoulder, you'll notice Rocky and Marshall.
Okay.
2 members of the Paw Patrol. I'm in my son's room tonight because we found, I'm not even shitting you, I think it was like a 4.5-inch scorpion in here.
No, what?
Yeah, we found like a 4.5-inch scorpion in here, like in like an hour or 2 hours ago. And Isabel had trapped it. He's got like this little stool. It's over here in the corner. And she trapped it underneath one of the stool legs. And she had like the back end trapped. And she's like screaming at me. She's like, you got to get in here. You got to get in. So I wanted to like scoop it up in a bowl in a cup and like just release it into the wild. You know what I mean? Just like dump it off the balcony. But she was like, no, go get a knife. And I was like, what? I'm like, okay. What? So I had to go get a steak knife, and she beheaded that motherfucker. Like she cut his head off. But the crazy part was that like she cut his head off. I'm assuming it's him. I'm sorry. It's sexist.
Is that the gender pronoun?
Right. Yeah. Sorry. But she cuts this scorpion's head off, but like the scorpion's head like starts like, and so like it starts crawling away. So like we've cut it in half, but the head is still alive. And so like I have to like trap the head underneath like a cup and wait.
How did the head get away?
We cut it off and it started crawling. It was like a chicken thing.
No, I would think the body could keep crawling, but I don't know how the head is like.
When I say head, like we cut it in half. You know what I mean?
Oh, like you sliced it?
Yeah, sliced it. Not long ways in half.
Why did you cut it across?
That's what I said. I said we should have sliced it vertically. That would have ended the whole thing. By the way, yeah. We also sat there because I wanted to kill it. Dude, it was probably one of the worst deaths like anybody's ever experienced because I sat there and sprayed Raid in its face for like 10 seconds, and it just sat there.
After or before?
Before. But it was like, you know, like all natural, like kid friendly Raid. You know what I mean? Like kid and pet friendly Raid for ants. So it was probably like, fuck this. This is nothing to me. You know what I mean? Like screaming and spitting in my face. And so I was like, all right, like, I tried to free you, but and so my wife just beheaded a scorpion. And so ultimately, well, by the way, so that's why I'm in here because the kid is now sleeping in my room because we're going to clean out the room tomorrow. So
make sure there's no more scorpions.
Right. This is the second scorpion we found in here in, I want to say like 6 to 8 months.
Oh, how do you know the scorpions aren't in your room?
I mean, we never found one in there. Like this is the second one we found in our apartment. And they've both been in here. So
I don't think I'd ever sleep again.
KC Chief says, "Why didn't you just pick it up and put it outside?" I wanted to. My wife wanted to show no mercy.
Well, was she scared that if you threw it outside, it would come back in?
Ooh, that's a good idea, Mark. I use needle nose pliers to pick them up. Yeah, I think that's what it was. You know, usually she's pretty merciful when it comes to, you know, we usually we'll catch moths and whatever it is, you know what I mean, and put them back outside. But
what was it trapped inside that you were able to slice it?
So like I said, we have like a little stool, and so she literally just grabbed the stool and like pinned it into the carpet. So she was just like holding its body down with the stool and sitting on it while I was trying to get away.
It's amazing.
Yep.
Wow. That's quite an eventful. Would this count as like an eventful night in the Von Tobel household?
I mean, I guess I went to sleep like 20 minutes after to take a nap. So,
okay, fair enough. Who is hotter in the NBA right now, Steph Curry or John Von Tobel?
Well, I'm not going to talk about my record. I'm not going to talk about anything like that. I just want to state that enough with the gatekeeping bullshit. All right. 2 weeks ago, I had a really bad day. 0-5. It happens. If you know anything about sports betting, you know it's about the large sample size. You know about the overall long run. Let's just put it that since that day, I've been unfucking touchable. And there's no point in either of that, right? There's no point in lauding an 0-5 day, and there's no point in lauding a hot streak that is eventually going to come to an end because it's about the long haul. And the other thing is, it's like, I could just like betting on basketball. Like, fuck off every time if I have a bad day, sliding up in the mentions, you know? I have sustained success over a relatively long period of time. And again, I'm not fucking Billy Walters, but I just like the fucking sport. So I'm kind of, it just gets kind of old, you know what I mean? Like every day there's like somebody in the mentions doing something. And it's like, can we stop? Like, I don't sit here and talk. If you look at my Twitter account, you'd have no idea. You know what I mean? What I am. And I think I do that on purpose because I'm just like, it's just like, I like to analyze the sport, all of that shit. It just gets really fucking old. Really fucking old.
I mean, I guess I just kind of like the nonsense from people. It's funny, but an almost exact experience I think it was about a year and a half ago where I was putting picks in for every single UFC card in the newspaper.
Yeah.
And I was doing the main card fights and just kind of writing an analysis on them. And then like I put a lot more time into the analysis than I did the actual picks because that's what I think is important. Like when you tell people, hey, this is how this fight should go, and then they can make a determination on their own, like how they want to bet it. Like, oh, this person has a chance, this person does, whatever it is. But I was putting picks in as well. And I had a 19-1 run, which like one of my editors came to me, he's like, this is unbelievable. We should publicize this. And I was like, no, we shouldn't. Because it's bound to turn around. And like, you know how people are. And he was like, well, you've got to be getting a lot of feedback of people that are like, wow, this is incredible. This is crazy. And I was like, I have not received one email or phone call.
Right.
Not one person said a word. And the next card, I went 1-4. And I got like
immediately
27 emails.
Yep.
You're a fucking idiot. You suck. Why do they even pay to do this? I'm like, okay.
Yep.
Like, well, what are we doing?
Now, like,
people are nuts.
I think I've interacted with Truth from Duluth a bunch, so I understand that this might be, you know, a little bit of sarcasm here that, hey, the Bulls game took overtime today. But, like, you'll get, like, serious comments like this or, like, you know, out of 5 games, and I get one wrong, and it's like, you fucking moron. You thought the 76ers would cover tonight? And it's like, well, I also thought Joel Embiid would play. But, yes, I'm sorry. like, I don't know. And you know what? To be honest with you, it started with, and actually, I get shit all the time because that's just what sports gambling Twitter is. It's just like a whole bunch of weird gatekeepers and, you know, nonsense. But it started with the Conor McGregor card. You know what I mean? With the you're a fucking moron. You have no idea what you're fucking talking about. And it's like, come on, like, just stop. Like, I just, there's some people that deserve to get dragged, like, right, Vegas Dave, with like all the garbage that he pulls, yeah. Right? Some scam decappers that do it, right? I'm just a guy that likes the NBA, man. Like, like just back up. Like, let's just discuss this, and that's it.
Yeah, people are tremendous. I love them. Well, I said who's hotter, you or Steph Curry? You've obviously been handicapping very, very well lately. Steph Curry, I saw the last 10 games are out of control. But even if we go back to the last 13 games, I just saw this stat: 32.4 points over the last 13 games, 56% from the field, including 50.6% from 3. And it's not like he's taken 2. Like, he's been chucking the last 13 games. 50.6% from 3. 5.4 assists and 5 rebounds per game over that time. That is preposterous numbers that he's putting up.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
This is good. Didn't you pick the Clippers with it all last season? Yeah. Yes, I did. Okay.
This was not an invitation to start taking shots at JVT.
No, I'm down with it. I mean, yeah, I did. Marcus, I'm assuming you picked. I'm assuming Marcus picked before the season started. Lakers Heat in 6 in Orlando.
Yeah, that there'd be a bubble that would be 6 games. Right. He called it all. He called COVID. Right. Good work, Marcus. I mean, you could make the case that the Clippers would have won if not for the shutdown.
I mean, there's a lot of cases you can make, but yes, like 100%, whatever it is. You know what's crazy about Steph, though? You know what's underrated about him if you've been watching him lately? How good he is at attacking off the bounce. Like you mentioned it, he's been chucking it, but like he's so fucking good attacking the rim. And like people don't really understand, but like how good he is in terms of his versatility and his ability to finish within 4 feet of the basket. Like he's been nuts.
Well, John, his ball handling has always been underrated for sure. But I mean, to your point of being able to get to the rim, which he can, which a lot of that is set up from his ability to shoot threes, of course, because you've got to get right in his face, and that gives him a chance to go around you. But he's always been so good at using his dribble as a weapon, not even just to get to the rim. Like his like probing dribble, step back, his dribble to set up, to set up a defender to get him going the wrong way, to set up like looking like he's going to go to a screen and going away from it. Like he's really effective in how he uses the dribble, even more so than the traditional, get to the rim type dribble. So, I mean, I know that I'm a Warriors fan, John, from living in the Bay Area, of
course,
and that I love Steph Curry, but I don't think it's being biased to just say like the guy is playing at a completely ridiculous level right now.
Dude, I gotta pull this clip up. We gotta watch this it's like a 10-second clip. Did you watch Terry Rozier yesterday put Jakob Poeltl on like ice skates? It was so fucking brilliant.
It was funny that I haven't watched it, but I think it happened while I was at the Golden Knights game, or maybe a little bit before when I was just in the press box kind of hanging out, because at one point Twitter just like it was just Rozier, Terry, scary, like it was just nothing but tweets about Rozier, so that must have been when it happened.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And it wasn't, by the way, it was not Jakob Poeltl. So I apologize for just assuming that the large white man in front of Terry Rozier was Jakob Poeltl.
I just assume all large white guys
are Jakob Poeltl. All right, can you see this? Dude, this is so good. Watch this. This is so brilliant. All right, so that's Malik Monk bringing it up. He's going to give it to Rozier right here. Look at this. Come back. Okay, go. So this has been a thing because I've been watching a little bit more League Pass, and I didn't realize that this had been taken over. I'm going to pull up the guy's name real quick. But the announcer for the Charlotte Hornets, have you watched the Hornets feed at all this year?
You love them.
Dude, well, yes, I love them a lot. They're fucking awesome. They're a young team. They're developing. They're just a really fun team to watch. But their announcer has been absolutely incredible this year. Like on that call, I'm going to get the audio ready. The enthusiasm in which he actually announces the games, it is very different.
Well, he's probably been their announcer forever.
Well, I think he's young. I think he's actually young.
Like a good team. Okay.
Let me see. Let me look this up. Talk for a second.
I was gonna say he's never had a chance to watch a good game, so he's probably like so enthusiastic and excited. I will say that was not Jakob Poeltl. That was a Jakob Poeltl lookalike by the name of Drew Eubanks that got abused there. Former was born like within a couple of weeks of my high school graduation, I think. So that's a little scary. I don't like that.
All right, let's see. I guess, am I supposed to read these? Do these goddamn Facebook comments work or not? I mean, I guess. I don't know.
If we're seeing the comment, that means it does work, right?
Sure, yeah. I think so. All right, let me pull this up for you really quickly. Because the call is absolutely fantastic. And I'm not one, like, I kind of hate, like, the whole analysis of, play-by-play guys. Because I think we overdo it. You know, you don't hate Joe Buck. Like, I never notice when Joe Buck's on a fucking game.
I hate Joe Buck.
No, you don't. Nobody knows
also,
when he's on it.
Steve's not going to be happy with you, I don't think, because the play-by-play guy for the Hornets is Eric Collins, who's a Syracuse guy, and Steve definitely does not like the Syracusification of the media.
All right, well, listen to this.
Malik Monk pulls down the board. Spurs just 6 of 18 to start the game and 0 for 8 from downtown.
Our guys struggling because they're not getting anything in the paint. And there's another beautiful ball fake there.
Oh, that's the wrong call. That was God damn it. I'll do an impersonation. The guy just goes, Terry! And he just screams it.
That's great.
It's so good.
By the way, I believe he's 51.
Yeah, the guy I'm referencing is like pretty young, man.
He sounds a lot younger.
Oh, it's so good.
He's been the play-by-play guy since 2015.
Okay.
So he's been around for a while. He's seen some bad teams.
Not this one, baby.
You love this team. Former, I guess he did the Dodgers. Part-time television voice for the Dodgers from 2009 to 2013.
I like it.
Yeah.
All right. I got one more NBA thing for you before we move on to what I thought was a pretty cool UFC card. We should do we should do some MMA Monday stuff. I just watched mixed martial arts for the first time in that Conor McGregor Dustin Poirier fight. Sorry, is it Poirier? Is that how you pronounce his last name?
Yeah, Poirier.
Dude, while I pull this up, I'm just gonna say this: does Kamaru Usman have the best jab in like mixed martial arts?
So very interesting that all of a sudden he does. And this is really weird because obviously he's known as a wrestler. He's much more of a grappling guy. He's kind of a boring takedown type guy. That's the rep on him. But he changed camps about 2 fights. He's been up there a little bit over a year to Colorado with a guy named Trevor Whitman, who's a striking coach. People probably know his work best with Rose Namajunas, Justin Gaethje, some of the more exciting fighters in the UFC. But he's really, really good at what he does. And Kamaru Usman went up there with him, and he wanted to evolve his striking game a little bit. And, man, has it ever. And one of the things that when Trevor Whitman got there, and actually I talked to Trevor after the fight the other night about the jab that Kamaru Usman displayed in that fight on Saturday because it was so good. And he said one of the things, and I guess Kamaru Usman actually said this at his press conference too, but he said that he got to the camp in Colorado and he's like, teach me how to strike. Like, I want to be a much better striker. I know what I'm doing a little bit, but, I want to evolve my striking game so that I could be the same, on the same level as my takedowns. And Trevor Whitman, like, watched him a couple times and he sat him down and he goes, dude, do you understand how good your jab is? We can evolve the rest of it, but your jab is fucking incredible. Like, you just have to use it more and trust it. And I think we've seen a lot of that lately from Kamaru. It's been a different fighter.
Is that better? Adam just like kind of dipped. There he is.
Do that whole did I do like a 5-minute rant about Kamaru Usman's jab not on the air?
No, you were on the air. I think my mic was just muted because it got unplugged.
Okay, cool.
I was just it was all on. I was listening.
I was like, wait a minute, was I just talking to?
No, and what I was saying, well, my mic was muted. That's a fucking fantastic story because then they touched on just the like how dynamic the jab was. He was landing it was landing with the impact of like a straight right. Like it was. I've rarely seen and I actually enjoy mixed martial arts. Somebody getting put on their ass multiple times with a jab. Like, I don't remember seeing that, right? In a single fight. And Burns got put on his ass multiple times with that fucking jab. Like, that was incredible. And, that was the other part about it, too. It was with both hands. He was switching stances, and he was doing it with both hands.
Yeah. It was – and then it wasn't – because it was a lot of jab. And the jab was what turned around the fight for sure because Gilbert Burns just came out early and just was – he wanted to go for it. He just wanted to go all in. And that was part of the narrative was Gilbert Burns probably has 2 good rounds in him, but Usman wears everybody down. And if he can't get it in the first 2 rounds, he's probably done. And it turned out Burns had 1 good round in him. And he looked like he had it. And he said after the fight, he's like, I just, I saw blood and I went for it. And I might've, it's probably a mistake to get that aggressive, but he was just trying to finish the fight right there. And then Usman settled in, he recovered. I thought a big part of the fight, not to go too far into the weeds with people maybe that didn't see it, but Usman took that big shot early on. He didn't officially get a knockdown because he caught himself from going to the mat, which is interesting because he's never suffered a knockdown in his entire career. So that would have been a first. But he saved himself from going down, but he was clearly hurt. He was wobbly. He was out of it a little bit. And at one point, Burns went to the ground and he tried to get Usman to go with him. And Usman basically spent 2 minutes just holding his legs and kind of
kicking his ass and
literally just kicking his thigh and his butt on the ground. And it might not have seemed like much. He wasn't really doing any damage or anything, but he was able to recover.
Yeah.
And he was able to slow the fight down. And so that actually proved to be, I thought, a pretty big part of the fight. And then once Usman's jab started landing, it was over. And then he started just swinging for the fences in the second round. But then, as it turned out in the third round, it was basically a jab. It was just a straight right that knocked Burns down and led to the end of the fight. So pretty crazy that Usman was able to turn it around like that.
And I thought one of the more interesting aspects of it was there was one point where, I think was it the second time Usman had Burns on his back? Was it the second round or the third? He lets him get up at one point though, because he could tell that Burns is trying to like recover. And he's like, "Nah, get up, let's go." Like I'll just keep pounding the shit out of you like that.
Second, it was great.
I thought that was great, man. And just watching, and again, like I don't have the most skilled eye, but watching him, like was it the Colby Covington, right before Jorge Masvidal, that Kamaru Usman fought, like watching that striker versus where he was at against Burns, like against Colby Covington, he was just throwing power, right? Like there wasn't much finesse behind it. This one was like, okay, I'll go to the jab. Okay, I'll switch stances. Like the technicality of his striking over the weekend, I thought was brilliant.
The only thing I hope for Usman, and I'm not looking at the comments now, but if there's people that are like, I didn't see this, I don't watch it, I don't know who this is. I think that's the story, because Kamaru Usman is one of the most dominant fighters the UFC has ever had, and nobody gives a fuck, which is crazy to me. It's crazy to me that he just surpassed the record of George St. Pierre for consecutive wins in the welterweight division, and he's closing in on Anderson Silva's record overall in the UFC for wins, and nobody really cares, which is crazy. But if you're saying that, you should probably pay attention to Usman. He's incredible to watch, and he's got a really good backstory as well. But yeah, it was a really good performance. I hope that Usman doesn't, as you're saying, how much his striking has evolved and how good he is at it now.
Yep.
I hope that he doesn't just feel like, well, I'm a striker now, because like the takedowns and the threat of the takedown and his ability to control on the ground is what has got him to this point. So I hope that he's not like, oh, I'm just going to be a striker now, because that has happened to fighters before, and it really tends to be the beginning of the end for a lot of them.
What's next for it? Masvidal's not next, is it?
Well, they want somebody to host to coach Tough. They want to bring the Ultimate Fighter back.
Yeah.
And Usman has said he wants to do it. And by the way, the stuff I was just saying is why it might be a good idea, because nobody knows who Usman is. Nobody cares. As good as he is, nobody cares. So putting him on a show like that could get people kind of to see him, to understand him a little bit better, to start following him a little more closely. So I think it makes sense from a marketing perspective to throw him up there. And when I froze. So I think it makes sense to market him that way, and Masvidal would make sense. It's a weird thing. Like, I don't know that anybody needs to see that fight again, but Masvidal keeps saying, I took it on 6 days notice. It'll be different next time. And so, he's talking his way into it. And for Usman, it's kind of an easy fight, and he'll make the most money.
Mm-hmm.
So why wouldn't he want that fight? So I don't know what they're going to do. I think it makes some sense to do the Ultimate Fighter to build Usman's profile even more. But we'll see what they do. Because like you said, people that follow closely don't really care about that fight because they know how it's going to go. But at least it would generate some mainstream attention.
Unless, like you said, he gets pulled into a stand-up fight with Masvidal because he thinks his striking's better. I think that's what makes it kind of intriguing.
Yeah.
But
it's possible.
Regardless, I think Usman's head and shoulders above that guy.
Yeah.
It's just me. All right, who's this dude?
Julian Marquez. So for local interest, Julian Marquez is a guy that wanted to be a fighter. Obviously, he was a professional, was trying to make his way to the UFC. He actually moved from Kansas City out here to Vegas about 4 years ago, just to try to continue to build his brand, continue to build himself as a fighter. He was actually, when he took a fight on Dana White's Contender Series, which is basically a tryout show for the UFC. When he took that fight, he was still working at Topgolf.
Mm.
Actually, when he had his first UFC fight, he was still working at Topgolf. So he was kind of a Las Vegas kid. Won a couple of fights in the UFC, and then suffered a split decision loss, which really set him back, not only because he lost, but also because he suffered a really bad arm injury that required a couple of surgeries to come back from. So he's this guy that was kind of on the rise. He had finally kind of made it in the UFC, and then he missed over 2 years. He missed almost 3 years with that injury as he tried to get back. He said there was times, I talked to him last week, he told me there was times where he couldn't reach the cereal on top of the refrigerator. And he was like, how am I ever going to fight? This sucks. One day I kind of clicked for him again. He also got really big again. He was up to about 270.
Wow.
He fights at 185.
Wow.
So he moved out of Vegas. He went back to the Midwest. Found this guy James Krause, who's still a fighter, but he's a really, really good coach. So he's still competing, but he's also a great coach, and really started to work with him. Got his way back. Either way, I'm setting this all up to say that after almost 3 years away, Julian Marquez, who has kind of found himself outside of the cage a little bit in this time away, he hosts a podcast, which is actually really entertaining. He does a lot of YouTube videos. He's just kind of trying to showcase his personality a little bit, but he actually walked to the cage to a Miley Cyrus cover of Heart of Glass, which is actually a really good cover. We've talked about Miley Cyrus's musical talent before. She's really good, but it was a great cover. He actually sang the song the whole way to the cage. It was pretty funny to sit there in that arena and see him do that. But after he wins, he decides he has to call somebody out for his next fight, and this is it.
Hold on. Oh, good God. You can't hear that, right?
I could barely hear it.
I've been waiting 31 months to get on this damn mic and to call these people out right now. It's my time to shine. So, Miley Cyrus, will you be my Valentine's? Miley, you heard the call out.
Here's my problem. I think he says my Valentine's.
Yeah, I know. Well, he's emotional. He had a big build up there. I think I see what you're saying. I don't like it. I usually get very annoyed at somebody. But full disclosure on this, like, Julian Marquez came in and did a lot of stuff with us when we were starting the studio, the MMA stuff at the RJ. He's one of the fighters that I'm probably closest to in the UFC. So I have a little bit of a soft spot that I could forgive him for this one. Just one of the nicer people you're ever going to meet too.
So you're not.
So I don't want to criticize him. I'm not in this case. I don't think.
Typical.
I will say that. Yeah, I'm
media,
of course. He's just a genuinely good dude too. So like it's a guy that you don't want to like. But yeah, I don't like my Valentines, and he's not the only one that does it. You know, other people do that, and it really bothers me. But for him, it doesn't really bother me as much. But here's the thing, John. I don't know if you know the follow-up to all this of what's been going on since that video. So he uses the post fight to call out Miley Cyrus as his Valentine's, which of course, whatever. Miley Cyrus tweeted at him that night.
Okay.
Miley Cyrus went on her Twitter. Somebody must have shown her the video.
She's got to be an MMA fan, right?
I mean, possibly. I've seen her at like one or two events, but they were like massive fights. So I don't know if she was going just to be seen or if she really was there for the MMA.
Right.
But yeah, somebody showed it to her, and she decided to come out and say, if you shave an MC into your chest hair, I am yours. Happy Valentine's Day and congrats, my love. Yeah, there you go. It's up on the screen. I don't have to read it. So that was her response to him. So she saw it. She issues like a challenge, and he's in. This seems like a love connection, John. I think we're on the right track here.
She's not married? I thought she was married.
No, single now. Actually, at her TikTok pregame Super Bowl party, John. If you would have watched the concert.
TikTok pregame Super Bowl party. Okay.
Yeah, whatever it was. It was on TikTok. It was a Super Bowl concert. She actually gave a big speech about being single. And Julian Marquez talked about that last week before the fight. He's like,
as one does on their TikTok pregame Super Bowl party.
Well, she made the announcement. She's like, single now, and tying into something we talked about on Kofi on a Company today. She's like, I'm single now. As soon as COVID's over, I'm ready to get out there.
Yeah,
so she's waiting. She's not going to do anything crazy right now. But here's where it gets interesting for something we have to debate. He came back at her. He responded on Twitter. And he said, okay, you have to get a henna tattoo, a temporary tattoo with his nickname on her midriff. He's like, I'll shave the MC into my chest if you get the henna tattoo on your midriff, and then we go out.
Sorry, nope.
Like, you already got the response, right? Like, why are we doing another challenge?
Right. Yeah, no, you're pushing it. You're the one that asked. She's the one that responded. You have to then, you have to answer the challenge. You're the one that's trying to win the heart, correct?
That's what I thought.
Yeah, there's no way. And I mean, look, he's kind of punching above his pay grade too. She's a Hollywood star. He's an MMA fighter. In the Dana White rankings, she's up here and like he's down here, right?
It's NFL media, top star,
right?
MMA or NFL media, MMA media, and then MMA fighters down here somewhere. Although with Ariel, the MMA media is even further down. I think is how we're going now. Yeah, I don't think the challenge back is appropriate or acceptable. Now he has spoken out about this because he took a lot of heat for this tweet. People are like, bro, they were saying the same thing we are. Like, what are you doing? Like, she responded, shave the MC and let's go.
You're alienating her.
He came out today and he said, listen, it's going to be fine. I'm working on it. Like, things are happening that you just don't know about. That's kind of insinuating that it's going down in the DMs. But he said, a man's chest hair is sacred. It's like a lion's mane. It's very difficult to part ways with. I'm talking to some people right now, and we have something in the works for everybody. But trust me, everything's going to work out the way you guys want it to work out. It's going to go the way it should go. For everyone to say that I blew it, I think it's hilarious because that's not what it looks like from this side.
He's got like 5 chest hairs.
Right. I also thought that.
Like he's.
It was a weird request from her part, I think. In addition to being just a bizarre choice all around, but I just don't think you can come back with that second request. I think it's too much.
Who's what's it called? Who's Kendra Lust?
She's an adult film star who is his podcast co-host.
Okay, all right, because she checked in, said that he did not blow it. Take it from a girl. We made it more interesting for her, Miley Cyrus. I would say Miley Cyrus has a lot more going on and probably is like, I'm good.
Yeah. She's on a different level of celebrity, I believe.
Right. Although I do
I think it's Beauty and the Beast, I think is the podcast if you want to listen to Julian and Kendra.
Although I do like the thought of Miley Cyrus just being like, you know what, I'm going to go find me a man today. And like just going to like a PT's pub, you know what I mean? And like just like waiting for the first gent to approach her. It's like, yeah, you look familiar. After
COVID, though.
Right, yeah, after COVID, of course. My name's Hannah. Like, oh, thanks. Okay.
Was that a Hannah Montana reference?
Right, well, she's got to pretend, right? I mean, you don't want to put the stardom out there right away. What if they're just into it for the money?
We talked about the different eras. Is Hannah Montana your era?
No, it was like right after me. Like right after me? Yeah, right after me.
What are you, like iCarly?
Yeah, well, because I mean, I think we talked about this last time. The problem is, it's also the networks that you took in as a child. I was never a Disney Channel kid. Like I had family members and cousins who liked the Disney Channel. I was never into Disney Channel. So whether it was like Hannah Montana, or I'm trying to think of what was Selena Gomez's show, the Wizard show.
Wizards of Waverly Place.
Right. Like that's the one that she came up on. I never really watched all that shit.
Oh, did we talk your Clarissa Explains It All?
Yeah, Clarissa Explains It All back in the day. Very good. All that. Yes. Keenan and Kel, Drake and Josh. Like those are the shows that brought me up.
Okay.
Like iCarly was like at the end of my end of my adolescence.
So like, you're still too old for like Zach and Cody.
Zach and Cody. That sounds. What is that?
I think it was the twins that were on like Big Daddy, and then they had their own show on like Nickelodeon.
Yeah, no, that doesn't sound familiar.
I think they like lived in a hotel or something.
Zoe 101, that was good. I think
is that Britney's sister?
Yes, there was Jamie Lynn Spears.
Okay,
there you go. Sweet Life of Zach and Cody, as Brady says on Periscope. Degrassi, I never watched Degrassi. My cousin really liked Degrassi, but I was never into it.
That was Drake's show.
Yeah. iCarly says Artie. Yes, iCarly.
Yeah, that's Andre Drummond to tie in your Draymond.
KC Chief, Adam probably has more chest hair.
No.
Can we do this?
False.
Take a picture. Show us.
Can we do? Well, I thought you were saying can we do Draymond because I mentioned iCarly and it was about Andre Drummond. who was connected with the girl from iCarly.
More than once, I'm assuming.
He was tied, and he was connected in the media, not connected in a physical sense.
It's really good.
They were.
It's a really good transition there. So since technology has been failing me, I'm just going to play like bits and pieces of this as we kind of go along. Oh boy, ghost person has popped into the room. What's going to happen? Oh, he's gone now. He's gone now. Uh-oh. I'm by myself. Does this mean it's all over? Does this mean that we're all done? Uh-oh. He's back. Did you freeze up there again?
Yeah, I thought you were going to play something, so I was like getting prepared for it.
Well, like I said, the technology's been failing me, so I think I'll play this just audio-wise, and we can react to this. But I think it's a really interesting conversation because we tend to have these conversations about NBA players all the time. We tend to call them lazy. We tend to think that they don't have the fire and the passion to play. That's weird how we do that, right? Don't really do it on the other sports. Which, by the way, just because it's my subtle reference to that, it's amazing, Adam, the racist comments that I have seen since I have started covering the NBA full time.
Oh, dude!
I'm amazed by it. People telling me I cover convicts. The fact, I'll get people telling me that, these people, of course, right, aren't smart enough to run a gas station. Like all of these, I'm like, it's incredible, right? And I've started this job a month ago. Like full time. so for anybody out there who thinks that that's not like a real thing, I'm a chubby white dude who covers the NBA from a betting perspective, and I've seen disgusting racist tweets sent at me just for covering the sport.
It's insane, and it's usually from somebody who doesn't have a job and has 4 followers, but they're better than these people NBA guys are talking about.
Oh, couldn't wait. What's the old thing about the who's the Steelers quarterback? Terry, what's his fucking name?
Terry Bradshaw?
Yeah, the whole thing about Terry Bradshaw couldn't spell cat if you fronted him the C and the T.
Right.
Yeah, it's fucking ridiculous. So here's Draymond after the game today. So for people who don't know, Andre Drummond, it's been a couple of players, right? Andre Drummond, Blake Griffin have essentially been benched as their teams either decide their roles or try to find trade acquisitions, partners for them. And it's a relatively smart move by the teams. You don't want to injure the asset that you're trying to ship off. But Draymond Green had something to say about this after the game. So we'll play this in bits and parts, but discuss this. And here's the first part.
To watch Andre Drummond before the game sit on the sideline, then go to the back, and then come out in street clothes because a team is going to trade him, bullshit. Because when James Harden asked for a trade and essentially dogged it, I don't think there was no surprise or there's no one's going to fight back that James was dogging it his last days in Houston. But he was castrated for wanting to go to a different team, and everybody destroyed that man. And yet a team can come out and say, oh, we want to trade a guy, and then that guy is to go sit. And if he doesn't stay professional, then he's the cancer, and he's not good in someone's locker room, and he's the issue.
So that first part right there, right? James Harden requests a trade. He dogs it, gets castrated. Team, though, says, we want to trade you. We'll bench you. And if the guy doesn't toe the line, right, then he's a cancer and he needs to get out of that locker room. This is why I like Draymond Green. He's a smart basketball player, but he gets it. He completely understands it. And the dynamics around how the teams do things, right? Tanking is viewed as smart, but basketball players on a losing team are viewed as lazy. Right, I heard today on my network, my very network on VSiN, somebody analyzing the Pistons and saying that there was no excuse that they're this good, and that because they're not good, because I saw them play the Lakers tough, that tells me that they just don't want to play. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. That's, of course, Draymond is, I think, hitting it right on the head to start off.
Sure, but also and John, you're saying it, but I'll just right out and say it, that people view, because it's a predominantly African-American league, the players are the players are idiots and they're lazy and they don't care and they should be happy that they're getting paid all this money
Right.
Because, I want to get paid all this money and I don't. Like, yeah, but you don't have that skill set. You don't have that ability. You shouldn't have that kind of power. But he's right here. But I want to keep playing this. I want to keep talking about this, but I also want to tie in to the situation with Duke, right? I mean, I don't know if you've seen the reaction today, but it's been really ugly against Jalen Johnson.
Can you explain the situation? I haven't dove into this at all.
So Jalen Johnson, he would have been a straight high school to the NBA guy, but he has to go, of course, a year of college. Obviously, this is a very very weird year to play. If this is your 1 year of college basketball, it's a weird one, especially going to Duke.
Jalen Johnson's they're big, right? They're center.
He's more guard.
Okay, all right, never mind. Then I'm thinking of somebody else. Go ahead.
Yeah, but yeah, it's a situation where this kid comes into college. He has an injury. He's trying to work his way back, and he's playing some, not playing probably as much as he wanted to, and they've kind of reduced his role recently. In fact, I mean, you can just say he's basically been benched, and he's like, "Yeah, I don't need this. Like, I didn't want to play college basketball anyway. I've been hurt most of the year. I'm sacrificing my future to potentially get hurt for what? To be benched and maybe play a couple minutes here and there, and then put my future at risk for that? Like, why? Why would I do that?" So he went to the school today, and he was like, "Listen, I'm not going to play the rest of the season. I'm going to start preparing for the draft because that's what my future is. That's what I wanted anyway. This team really isn't going anywhere." And I know, and I understand why people would come out and be like, "Oh, you're quitting on your teammates," which you kind of are to a level, but also, like, you knew what the situation was. Like, he was there for 1 year to get ready for NBA. Right. That's why he's there. And so if you're not going to put him in the position he wants to be in, more power to him. Go get ready for the draft. Like, that's fine. And everybody in the media seems to be coalescing against this kid and attacking him. And you know why? Because it's Krzyzewski, and he's a god in this, in the college basketball media world. He can do no wrong, even though he's as scummy as it gets in college basketball. But everybody's going to come defend him. Seth Davis and Dan Dockich and like every talking head in college basketball. Doug Gottlieb even did, which is preposterous to me. But like everybody's attacking this kid, and like, yeah, he might have an issue. He went to a couple different high schools. He's one of the kids that just kind of he's looking for a better situation all the time. But hey, that's his right. If you're that marketable, you have that much power, do what you're going to do. And I think there's some fair criticism that you could direct at him, but for everyone to just be piling on against the kid is ridiculous to me. And we understand why. It's the power dynamic. It's the same thing Draymond is talking about, where if players do one thing, then they're criticized and they're the worst, but the teams do the exact same thing in their own interest.
Yep.
And hey, it's cool. And we understand why it's set up that way.
And as Bill puts it here, love Draymond, dude is right as usual. Also, the trade deadline being a month away, that makes it a little bit crazier as well, which is completely true, right? Like, this isn't one of those where, hey, trade deadline's in 2 days, let's bench this guy, whatever. It's a month away. So here's more Draymond.
And we've seen situations of Harrison Barnes getting pulled off the bench. DeMarcus Cousins finding out that he's traded in an interview after the All-Star game. And we continue to let this happen. But I got fined for stating my opinion of what I thought should happen with another player. But teams can come out and continue to say, "Oh, we're trading guys, we're not playing you." And yet we're to stay professional. At some point, as players, we need to be treated with the same respect and have the same rights that the team can have. Because as a player, you're the worst person in the world when you want a different situation. But a team can say they're trading you, and that man is to stay in shape. He is to stay professional, and if not, his career is on the line. At some point, this league has to protect the players from embarrassment like that.
He's spot on, dude. Like, it's brilliant. He's absolutely right. But you know what the crazy part is? I think for the most part, the NBA circles, like the people who follow the NBA, know like Draymond and what he is and actually agree with everything he's saying for the most part. But like you said, this is where mainstream media gets involved. And you'll get a couple people here and there going, here we go. Draymond at it again. Like Steve's trying to play the bit right now as he comments. Everybody, come on. Like Steve doesn't believe that, and he's obviously trying to rile us up as he comments on YouTube, right? For all of those who are listening. But for the most part, you might get something like this as Brady sarcastically comments. The angry black man says, "Screaming white guy." Like he's right, man. But this is something that we have to change personally, and I think it's starting to shift a little bit. You know, I think the aura around Draymond, for example, is a really good one. That when you talk to people who follow him, know that he's in the right, and the dynamic here needs to be changed with the way that this league is covered and the way these players are talked about. But I thought he was really smart tonight.
Yeah, I think he's usually pretty. And sometimes he says some dumb things,
right?
But I think when you're
sometimes at the end of a Spurs game, he'll chuck up a shot.
He thought the Cox were. This is the second week in a row we've talked about Draymond. One good, one bad. But I think a lot of times when you're outspoken and you're willing to say things, you're going to make some missteps with some of the things you say. Like I think that's just going to happen sometimes. And sometimes he says some things that are kind of dumb, but. If you want to accept people being outspoken and expressing their feelings, which I do, I'm with it. You know, I was talking to Chris Bryant last week. He did a batting practice out here.
Name drop.
I was actually just going to preface by saying this is quite a name drop, but Chris talked to like a couple local media people after he did some batting practice out here, and we were actually discussing some of this stuff, like, you know. When he first started in the major leagues, he was a guy that would kind of be not Draymond like, but he would give interviews and he wouldn't give cliche answers. He would do he would kind of think about it and he would try to answer your question. It wasn't always outrageous, and Chris is a really nice, quiet kid, but he would actually try to answer questions, which is pretty rare among athletes.
Well, and Chris was. I'm sorry to cut you off, but Chris was like one of the guys, right, that we talked about very early on, which was keep him in the minor leagues past that deadline so we can get an extra year of control guys, you know?
And it's screwing them now. By the way, it's coming back to screw them now too.
Yep.
It's because it's keeping them 1 year away from qualifying for service time. So it's coming up now. But he is a guy that would really thoughtfully answer questions. And he said the other day, he was like, listen, I'm not doing that. He's like, you guys might think I'm kind of the same kid and I'm answering the questions the same way. He's like, but I know you guys. He's like, I can't do that anymore because I don't know everybody. I don't trust everybody. And too often I've given an answer. And it happened with the, this year, this offseason with some of the trade stuff and some of the stuff he said about like, all he was trying to say is like, listen, I love Chicago. I want to play in Chicago. If they don't want me and they trade me, then, I'm going to have to accept that and deal with it. But he was basically just trying to give, an answer that was really thoughtful and actually from the heart of what he believed. And then they throw a headline up like Chris Bryant wants to be traded. Like, that's not what he said. And he just said, he goes, I don't understand what benefit it is to me to be like thoughtful and introspective and give you real answers if that's the shit that's going to happen.
Yep.
And so like you do have to have the right mindset to be able to actually come out and speak and talk. And Draymond will do that. Draymond says what's on his mind. And sometimes it might sound stupid and silly and wrong, but I think for the most part, you're going to get real responses. Like last week when he said it was the smartest dumb play of all time or whatever he said. Like, that's kind of weird, but like I appreciate that he's willing to just answer questions and say what he feels, because I think more often than not, you're going to learn something or at least get an opinion or a reason for why somebody has that opinion, which I think is cool. So I get Chris Bryant's perspective on this. I get the why would I do that? Why would I give you real answers if it's just going to be twisted around? But I appreciate somebody like Draymond Green who just doesn't care. And he's like, fuck it, I'm going to answer the question.
You got to get people like when they're at their peak. You know what I mean? Like I like hearing people and athletes speak from the heart. Like when you hear, was it Britton Hart telling us that she's a fucking feeling? You know what I mean?
I'm not a person. I'm not. I'm a fucking feeling.
That's the stuff I like to see.
Is that from the heart though, or is that just weird?
I mean, it's odd, weird planning.
I don't really know.
I'm a fucking feeling.
Are you? Are you a feeling?
I feel dead inside.
Well, you look like an assassin right now.
With my polo.
It's like zipped all the way. It's zipped all the way up.
Well, it's really cold in my son. My son's room's the coldest room, so I'm like really fucking cold.
Is that why the Scorpions like it there?
Maybe. By the way, Brady, I think the name you're looking for is Tim Kawakami, not Kawasaki, but good try.
He sells. He writes columns and sells motorbikes.
All right.
Tim Kawasaki.
He did block me. That's always one of my favorite the favorite times I've been blocked. It was during the first Warriors Cavs series, and I responded to one of his tweets saying, "But don't you think that it would be also 2-0 Cavs if Kyrie doesn't break his kneecap in Game 1 and that shot goes down?" Block.
That's a justifiable block. I feel like
super block
makes no sense. Oh, it's great.
Oh boy. All right. What else you got? I got one more thing for you if you got something.
I had one more thing, but yours is probably better. Yours is probably better, so go with yours.
Oh, it's definitely not. Go ahead.
All right. I need to get commentary because I had this debate and I was like, I might be wrong about this.
Got a haircut.
We'll find out. That's impressive. We have a friend. God, I would love to say who it is, but I definitely can't. We have a friend who
somebody I know
has a. Oh yeah, for sure. Who has a.
I'm gonna wear my hat like this.
Who has a girl that doesn't live in town that believes she's his girlfriend, but she's not.
Oh boy. Do I definitely know who this is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
If it's who I think it is, she followed me on Instagram.
No. Wait.
Wait, there's a private. There's a private.
Okay. I really want to know if you know who this is.
Well, I mean, go ahead. You continue.
So, she was trying to get him a Valentine's gift.
Okay.
And she contacted me and she was like, "What should I do? How should I approach this? Like, what do you think I should do?" And I was like, "I don't know." It was like, I have no idea. And she was like, "If I send you money and what I want, like, could you like buy it for me and take it to him? Because it would be like 3 different places and she didn't want to get it shipped or whatever."
Steve, we discussed this like 30 minutes ago.
Yeah, we did like 20 minutes on it. So yeah, she was like, "It's different places." She's like, "I don't know how to coordinate all of it. Like, could I send you money and then you buy it and then take it to him?" And I was like, "Yeah, I guess. I mean, I got a lot going on, but yeah, sure, whatever. That's fine." And so she sends me like a picture and she's like, "Could you do something like this? Like organize it." Like it was like very well wrapped and like presented.
Okay.
And I'm thinking like, no.
Oh, she sent you a picture of what you wanted to get. Okay. I thought she sent you like a picture of her. She's like, "Here's this naked photo of me. Give this to him."
No. She's like, "This is how I would want it presented. Like I would want it presented something like this. Like I can't even wrap a present. Like I have no idea what I'm doing."
Wow, she's under the thumb, huh?
Under the thumb?
Like she's like the person we're discussing has her under his thumb. Like
for sure. So and like I know her. I've known her for a while. So I was like, it's not like a totally weird thing, but I was like, yeah, that's fine. So I went, I did it. She sent the money. I went and got the stuff, and like I was at the store, and they were offering like Valentine's wrapping or whatever, and I was like, oh, this works out well because I don't have to go like try to present it the way that she wanted or whatever's going on. So anyway, I get the stuff. I take it. I drop it off to our friend. And he was like, "Why is this like? If you're bringing this to me, why is it like all Valentine's-y?" And I was like, "Well, that's what she wanted me to do." And he's like, "So what? Just bring it to me."
Right?
Like what? Like she won't know. And I was like, "Well, she probably wants like a picture of like the way that it's presented or whatever." He's like, "No, this is weird. You should not have got like you should have just brought these things over to me."
Okay.
So like, what should I have done? Like, should I have just brought them, or do you have the responsibility if you're doing a favor for somebody to like actually do the favor?
I mean, I think you did it right because because your angle is correct, and if she wants a picture or if person took picture, whatever, you know what I mean? Because you fulfilled your duties. Here you go. I wash my hands of it. I feel like that's the way to do it.
This is actually this is true. Doing arts and crafts like it's Michael's. That's what I thought I was gonna have to do. Luckily, like the store was like, "Yeah, we could just do that," and I just like tipped the lady. I don't even know if that's what you're supposed to do, but that's what I did. But I was like, okay. But I feel like he was calling me out. He was like, you didn't have to do this. You just brought the stuff to me and that would have been fine. I felt like I was doing the right thing.
I think you did. So your Valentine's Day was spent helping the love of others.
Mine was at the Golden Knights game. This is before. I dropped it off early. That's the other thing. Do you have a responsibility to wait for the actual day? I just said, like, here, just take it.
No, I mean, like Isabel and I are celebrating Valentine's Day next weekend.
Okay.
We got like couples facials or something like that over at like this spa that her old manager now runs downtown.
Okay.
So, like, yeah, I don't think it really. Look, I've said this before. This is like my rebellious, against the system type deal. Valentine's Day is a commercialization of love. It doesn't really matter. It's not about love. It's about, buying chocolates and doing garbage things and spending money. I don't know what the obsession is here. Like, the comments are working. We've been referencing them quite a bit.
The Facebook ones?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, was my story too complex?
That's what Jay Lawrence says. And Adam's gone. It was so complex, Jay Lawrence, that Adam decided to leave. He was like, "That's way too much."
Sorry, I was trying to call it the comment. Accidentally exited. Was the story too complex?
I mean, it wasn't as good as you set it up to be.
I didn't set it up to be anything. I told you to go first because mine wasn't very good.
Oh, okay. I think definitely my wife beheading a scorpion today was much better than.
Yeah, how's anybody going to follow that? That's
Can I tell you something? I was afraid to hear I was afraid that I was going to hear the scorpion scream. I was like, if this thing screams, well, you know what I didn't really like was, like, the second she starts pressing the knife down, he's like, ah, like you can totally tell. You know what I mean? He's like, this is it. Like, it was pretty harrowing, dude.
How sad was she doing it? Like, was she like, did she have like crazy eyes, or it was like just a mundane task?
Oh no, dude. She had blood in her eyes. It was over.
Did she want to be the one that did it, or was she trying to get you to do it?
Oh no, she wanted to do it. I wanted to save its life.
Oh, that's right. That's a good point. But then I'm surprised that she wasn't like, no, we need to kill it and you need to kill it.
No.
I mean, that's kind of scary that she's just an assassin that's willing to just cut the head off of a scorpion.
She's very anti-bug.
Okay.
Very. She's buggist.
Fair enough.
Insectist.
I think that's fair.
If it's got more than 2 legs, well, more than 4 because we have a cat. So if it's got more than 4 legs, she's out.
Okay.
No, I was just going to ask you what you did for Valentine's Day.
Golden Knights, bro.
You don't have a lovely love?
I got home at like 4 a.m. Saturday from UFC.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to sleep like all day until I went to the Golden Knights, and I went to the Golden Knights. It was a good time.
Did you cover Ariel ESPN's statement today on the air? Asks Brady. And what hour? He's asking Ari, but I don't know if Ari has the answer. Ari's only the producer, Brady. Yeah. He only can do so much.
I mean, it wasn't really much of a statement. It was like, Ariel does great work. We defend him, or like we support him, or something along those lines. It wasn't an actual statement, but they had to say something because their personalities are all speaking out.
Yeah. After what's it called? Dan Le Batard went after ESPN. Yeah. Dude, unplug Dan Le Batard is going to be pretty good.
Well, so did Sarah Spain and Cassidy Hubbard and like a lot of people from ESPN. Kind of went after ESPN about not defending Ariel.
Is this really the statement?
Yeah.
This can't be the statement.
Of course it is.
One sentence?
It's 2, I think.
Okay, all right. I'm not getting the whole entire statement then. I'm going to try to find this. Because the only statement.
What did you see?
Ariel is a valued colleague and an exceptional MMA reporter. His record speaks for itself.
Yeah, 2 sentences.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's it. That was the whole thing. Man,
good for Dana. I mean, he controls ESPN now. That's
exactly, and that's the problem. That's what kind of people are pointing out. And like, who's in charge, and what are you gonna just? You're just gonna allow anything to go on because this guy has this long-term deal and he's providing program. By the way, he did work wonders for them during the pandemic when nothing else was going on and they needed the programming, so they kind of do owe him. but at the same time, like you can't just allow him to come in and run roughshod over your organization and like take shots at people that are on your network.
That's so good, dude.
The sentence?
Yeah. His record speaks for itself. What does that mean?
I don't know.
Does that mean you believe that he is a descendant, like a Jewish descendant? Like, what does that even mean? That's incredible, dude.
They're really standing up for their guy.
Yep. Wow.
Okay. Here's this other story that I just saw come across that I was Did you have something else, or you wanted to?
No. What do you got?
All right. So, a Philadelphia man was busted. I don't know if you saw this story.
Can I just say that every good story starts with like the state and then the person? Like,
well, it's either Florida man,
Philadelphia man. Like, you know, it's going to be a good one when it's just the man state.
So he's 47 years old. His name is Teray Herring.
Okay,
is the guy's name. He got caught with a U-Haul and a dumpster next to his storage facility that contained body parts. So we don't know exactly what he did with these body parts or why he had them, but he has been charged with burglary, abuse of a corpse, and evidence tampering, which to me leads me to believe he like took the bodies out of like the morgue and cut them up and had them.
Okay.
Here's the part that really, I mean, we do a lot of cooking talk on this show, so I think this is going to be where a lot of people can weigh in. The body parts that they found, including hands and feet, were deep fried.
Oh, God.
Is that the proper way to prepare?
People?
Yeah.
Well, we had a really long conversation, what was it, like 2 months ago, about like just eating people in general and who we'd rather eat.
Right.
And of all the people we knew. I mean, I feel like, well, did he bread them? Or was it just straight up deep fried them?
That's a fair question. I mean, I would think,
was it like
would you have to bread them to make them palatable at all?
Right, like some garlic and herb, like, panko crust or something like that. You know what I mean?
But I feel like that's the only way you could ever act. Like I just feel like human skin will be so gross.
And you said a hand
and feet.
So that's including toenails too. Like that's feet. You know what I mean? That's fingernails, that's toenails.
Can't you slice those off like in preparation?
I mean, you could, but there's bone. Like, how hard is that? I mean, I think what you do is it's kind of just like when you have like the whole pig or whatever. You just eat around it, don't you? Just fry the whole thing and then just eat around the fingernails.
How much like it's ridiculous. How much stuff is on the inside of the foot?
Yeah, you can't be very meaty, right? It's got to be pretty like cartilagey and like not very good.
That's what I'm thinking.
Martin, I want to make sure it's done and it won't smoke and give away the scent.
Well, that's true, but I do feel like would a hand be like almost like a chicken wing?
Not
much. It's all like meat on the outside, but it's mostly bone. So you just eat the meat around the bone, and then it's like kind of discard the.
Well, then I think it'd be like the hand part, right? Like actually this part, not so much your fingers. There's not much in the fingers.
Yeah, but there's also I feel like there's a lot of stuff in your hand too.
If you're eating the fingers, do you eat them like a chicken? Like you know what I mean? Like strip off the meat,
strip it off.
Right.
I mean, I think so, but because I feel like the inside of the hand doesn't have a whole lot going on either.
No, you got the meaty part. Like you got the inside of your hand, right? Like the butt of your hand right here. Some good meat right there. That's
gonna be a gross. That's a gross bite right there.
No, that's a good bite.
This right here, of your palm.
This right here, look at that. Or fuck that shit up, man.
This part, the side, like between the that's got like some, but the actual.
I mean, think about it.
Butt of your palm.
Like, think about it. Now that I'm really thinking about it, like if I was going to be preparing people, right? Like Buffalo Wild Wings, that would be my thing. Instead of Buffalo Wild Wings, it'd be like Buffalo Wild Things, fingers. Okay. And like that would be dope.
When you said Wild Things?
Yeah, Buffalo Wild Things.
So BWF?
Yeah. Okay. Like that would be the thing. And like instead of drums and flats, it's thumbs and I don't know, fats, I guess. I'm trying to think of something very clever like that.
Okay. But okay. So the legs, that this is a tremendous question.
Well, and see, this is my other. So Martin, yes, what condiments would go best for with your hands and feet?
Honey mustard.
My other thing is, did he get some hands that were like splayed out, or like were they like straight, like, you know what I mean, to put into the fryer? Because that's got to be tough if it's like all rigor mortis and like, you know what I mean.
Well, can you once you're gone, does your hand stay in a certain spot, or do you have to, like, could you like squeeze it together?
Well, I think like that's why when rigor mortis sets in, from what I understand, what Hollywood tells me is that it's relatively hard to put the bodies back once the body sets in to like rigor mortis, unless you're like breaking things.
So they said that they also found like legs and arms, but those weren't deep fried. Do you think that was just a space issue?
Yeah, I mean, that's hard. How are you gonna do
that? That would be the part that would be the most delicious, I feel like, but you can't. There's just not enough room.
I mean, yeah. Was it Jay Lawrence or was it Martin originally? Yeah, to Martin's original comment here, you'd have to smoke those. You know, nice cedar plank, the thigh, put it in a smoker for like, you know. See, that's the other thing too. You got to shave it. That's the gross part, man.
There's a lot of prep work to this.
But I guess
it seems like more trouble than it's worth, because I think we've agreed that it's not appealing at all, right? Like none of this is like, oh, I want to eat somebody or like a part. Like neither one of us is Army Hammer. But I feel like even if you did want to eat people, like the logistics involved would be like, I don't know if it's that worth it.
Right. Like all the cannibalism that I've ever like read about or taken in, like the people are getting eaten raw, and that just sounds like no fun.
Awful. But like the prep sounds like just a nightmare. I mean, I've complained that I can't even make peanut butter and jelly, so I'm not preparing a human. Like,
I did see a good meme the other day. It was like an alternate universe, and it was like these giant crab people, and like he reaches into a tank and he pulls out like a naked human, and like the other crab's like, "What do you do?" He's like, "Just throw it in the fucking water." Like they don't feel a thing. and like the humans like hanging upside down, like, "What the fuck?" And then they just throw them in the water. It's brilliant. It's really good.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess if you're just gonna boil somebody alive, like that seems like an easy way to prepare them.
What kind of rub would you use before smoking it? I'm not good at the whole rub thing. Like I enjoy barbecue, but I wouldn't be able to tell you what a good combination, like in terms of seasoning for rub is.
Like a lemon pepper? Sugar?
Yeah, you know, I don't know. Yeah, lemon pepper.
I feel like you would need as much sauce as possible.
So, and I don't know the intricacies of the chicken, right? But like I enjoy when I, like, for example, when I cook chicken, right? When you sear it a little bit, you crispy up like the skin. But like part of the skin, I would assume like that's where the feathers were, right? So like, does at some point the feathers stop growing when you pluck the chicken? But I ask this because like if I'm eating a person, like I mentioned, you have to shave them. Like, are the hair follicles still there in the skin? You know what I mean? Like you got to pluck those hairs out. You know, like that'd be gross.
To me, it seems kind of like, even if humans were delicious, which I can't imagine that we are, like it kind of seems to me like crab, where like I love crab, but it's so much work. Like, there's so much that goes into trying to eat it, and like there's only such a little part of it that's actually edible. It's just like it's not something you have all the time just because of the work involved. Like a human just seems like so much work for so little payoff. With like you gotta, like, if you like the little part in between your fingers maybe is delicious, but like how long does it take to get to that?
You know,
that right there, that's a nice little. It's probably a little tasty.
I think the buffalo wings of the human body are our thumbs and our big toes.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
Like I got some fat big toes, you know.
But you just eat around like the bone. You just eat around the bone part.
Yeah.
So you just drop if you drop a thumb, but you cut the thumb off first, or you throw the whole hand in the fryer.
Well, I think it's kind of like a chicken thigh, right? Like it's like the whole, like this big part right here.
Okay.
You rip that bad boy off.
Well, this guy apparently he figured it out because he did deep fry the
was living off of it, huh? Oh, by the way,
apparently
This makes me think. This is my last thing here, really quickly. Just the name Joe Rogan. Can I say that watching the card today, to bring it back, I guess full circle. I don't know. I did not miss Joe Rogan on any of these cards.
No,
as like a commentator,
he's terrible.
He's not good. It's just him screaming, "Ah!"
Yeah,
"Ah!" like over and over again. Who is it? Who have they been using in his place?
A lot of Cormier.
A lot of Cormier, and there's a third fighter whose name escapes me.
A lot of Dominic Cruz. Dominic Cruz has done a lot.
Is it Fader or whatever his name is?
Fader, like Uriah Faber?
No, it's not. I can't.
No, it's Paul Felder.
Felder, excuse me. Yes, thank you. Sorry, I'm half asleep.
Who's also really good.
I was going to say Felder has become one of my more favorites.
And Dominic Cruz is brilliant, but I think a lot of times he's way too technical. I like Cormier because he seems to have a good time and he's good connection with Anik. I think they do a pretty good job.
Yes,
but I don't need Rogan on at all. What I think Rogan is like a tie to the past. They needed him for like name value at first.
Yep.
Of like, this main comedian and actor, he's going to do the cards. It's going to be great. And he does have good knowledge. Like, I'm not knocking his knowledge. It's not great, but it's good enough to get by for sure.
Yeah.
But I think they've outgrown it. But there is like a segment of the MMA world, the UFC world in particular, and it goes to the higher ups and to some of the fans that are like, that's our guy. We need him on the broadcast. Like, no, I think it takes away from the broadcast.
A 2-man crew of Anik and Cormier would be fantastic.
Yeah, and I'm cool with Felder or Cruz being on there too, but those guys are really good, and I enjoy. Like, Cormier to me is the Romo.
Yeah,
like just recently retired, still kind of in the game a little bit, knows a lot of the guys, but is really, really good with knowledge and just loves it so much that it makes you enjoy it a little bit more because he just loves doing the commentary. And it's really weird. It's really weird, John, being in the arena and like hearing him, but not like hearing the broadcast. It's really weird. It's crazy, but he does a great job.
Cormier has honestly become one of my favorite like media members in general. Like, I enjoy him on the broadcast. I think he does a great job. Everything you say is 100% spot on. Like, his joy really like bleeds through like to everybody who's watching it. He had a great moment where who were the two girls who were fighting? I was just texting about you, texting it to you earlier. The co-main event. Yeah,
the Macy Barber fight.
Yeah, the Macy Barber fight.
Alexa Grasso.
And Grasso's corner, they're talking to her in Spanish and they're telling her eso, you know what I mean? Like, as she's like, with it as Barber's whiffing on all these and she's ducking and moving and moving really well. And like Cormier just goes, eso, I like that. What's that mean? And like, they're just like laughing. Like, it's so, but you can tell like he just really enjoys like the fights that he's watching, but he still like breaks it down to a technical aspect. And I will say too, I enjoy his podcast with Ariel Helwani. Like, I think he does a great job. I think Ariel does a pretty solid job too. But I'll be honest too. I listen to it for more Cormier than Ariel. It's not anything about Ariel, but Cormier's like, if I were to meet Cormier, I'd probably be a little like nerdy fanboy, but like, dude, you're the fucking man.
By the way, just for whatever it's worth, awesome guy, and take it or leave it for whatever. I've told the story though. I've eaten dinner with him twice. He sent back the steak both times.
Oh no.
Yeah. Yeah.
My mom is a sender backer, and I'm not a big fan.
Me neither. As Steve often makes fun of me for, whatever you bring me, that's what I ordered. That's fine. Well, no, whatever.
I mean, look, I'm for sending it back. Like, if I order pizza and you give me a corn dog, that is worth sending it back, right? But
that's an upgrade.
Right? But like, if I order like the common thing that has happened with my mom when we go out is like BJ's, right? The pizza place. I want a pizza with extra sauce. You get it. That's too much sauce. And it's like, well, you asked for extra sauce. Like, those are the things where I'm like, all right, you can't send that back. That's a sender backer. That's like, I'm like, can't.
By the way, the tri-tip and chicken at BJ's, one of my favorite meals of all time.
Okay, I'll put it on the list.
Tremendous.
Brady, stop. I was the producer for the show for how many years? I mean, you think I didn't see Cormier doing It's All About the Chicken? I think I played that song for like a month straight at one point.
Wasn't It's All About the Cake?
Well, It's All About the Cake. Yeah, everything like that.
Yeah,
like,
okay.
he was,
okay.
God, I'm going to pull that up now. Hold on. Talk for a second.
Now you're like talking. I have nothing to even talk about. This is right up John's alley. This is when he was producing the show and he was all over things. So you can't test him. He's not He's not Ari. He doesn't forget things in a week that we played on the show. We make fun of Ari. Like Ari, I think he gets a bad rap just because he just doesn't care. It's not that he doesn't like it or doesn't. He's great at his job, but he just doesn't care what we say because he thinks we're idiots because we are. Right. That's the issue.
Like, look, I got Brady telling me sent on Twitter. I don't need you to send it to me. I got it.
Brady, he's a producer.
Yeah, dude. Such a good video. It's such a good video. I ain't no size 2, but I can wrestle. Oh, dude, man, it's such a good song.
I don't think he wrote this himself, though.
I would say no. Which, by the way, that belly too. I remember was it the second time we fought John Jones when he walked out and he actually was like kind of cut, and I was like, holy shit! Like Daniel Cormier like really wants to beat the shit out of John Jones. And then he took
205 Cormier is like 205 Cormier is always in pretty good shape. Heavyweight Cormier is a little out of control.
Yeah, but then he took a shin to the head, and I was like, okay,
doesn't really help.
No, it doesn't.
Like the chicken floating around in the background. It's just
the slow-mo eating, everything. God, it's so good.
That MMA award show is not great, but that's one of the only great things they've done.
Oh, is this where I never even knew where it originated? So that's where it originated?
Yeah. So MMA awards.
God, look at that. Pretty good. Okay. I've never even watched it this far.
He loves it. And I mean, you've got to be a pretty good sport to do that, by the way.
Right.
Like to be able to participate in that and to go all in, because other guys have participated in like jokes about themselves on that award show. But to go all in like that is pretty solid.
Let's see. Last one here. How did he order a steak?
That's a great question. I don't remember exactly. Both times he said it was undercooked though, so
undercooked.
I think it was like medium rare, then it comes out like medium rare, and he's like, I wanted medium.
Oh my god.
No, he doesn't say I want medium, but what he really wants is medium. He just says medium rare because I think you're supposed to say rare, medium rare, because the steak snobs will get you.
But then you send it back anyway.
Yeah, because he really wanted medium, he just couldn't say it.
Yeah. Oh boy. All right. Well, I think that does it. Unless you got any last parting shots.
No, the deep fried hands and feet was the last thing from there.
I'm gonna look up some stuff. Get some recipes for my Buffalo Wild Things.
Buffalo Wild Things. I keep thinking things. It's
no, Buffalo Things. Yeah, with an F. Yeah. Buffalo Wild Things.
Perfect.